Welcome everybody, good evening, or less good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We have the latest QPR news, breaking news, and whatever else it is today. So obviously a bit late with certain transfers. As you know, yesterday we had a great cracking day with QPR. Triple signing in ITZYEBOIDB, Davis, and Sato. Now, obviously the ITZYEBOIDB deal was very quiet over the last couple of days. And it was announced, but I didn't realize there was any news of him going to QPR or anything like that. There was just talks. So yeah, what I'll say. So hello Foley, how are you? Hope everyone's okay. Everyone can hear me, hopefully. But yeah. So Hayden has come to the club, returning back to the club, and to be honest, a cracking interview with QPR he did, and he just literally annoyed a lot of Portsmouth fans. So that is great news. Second signing was announced after him, which was Norrington Davis, or Reece Norrington Davis, I should say, who's come out on loan from Sheffield United, a left back which we needed completely. I would say we've been lacking in that left back area with experience, and when I say experience, I mean championship experience, not youngster wise or whatever like that. So I believe with the mistakes that we have been making in the team and what players to choose from, we've been lacking in that area, I would say, and I don't think he has full faith in Harvey Vale to play in left back, as he's been playing Esquidina and then Bengu there. So yeah, so Norrington Davis has come to the club, and then the third final signing, which we all knew about, was Koki Sato, and yeah, he's come finally on a full-time basis. He's very happy, and the fans are going to be happy as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of these players, and obviously what they're like, and obviously what they're going to do to affect our team. Go for some of the comments first. I'm good, mate. Hope you're right too. I'm good, thank you. Just coming back off a really bad annoyed headache from Saturday with QPR. But yeah, let's move on from that. Let's keep it positive. So yeah, as everyone knows, Hayden joined QPR on loan in the Marty Fuentes era when he came in. He did change the game up for QPR. Very versatile holding midfielder that can play centre back, right back, left back, and holding midfield. Has been very used as a push box to box midfielder as well. But I believe for us, where he's most effective is in a holding midfielder position. So that is great news for us to bring in some cover for Varane. I know a lot of people obviously seeing Varane in the game against Coventry, it wasn't great. And obviously he's going to bring that experience to help out the team. Now, the recent, obviously, where he was at QPR, he did a lot well in the sense of motivation in players in the category of more in the back room, not on the pitch. Like he did make a difference a little bit, but he didn't have the most phenomenal seasons. But you could see what he could provide with the belief of the players doing well and going from there. Obviously, we did have a couple of other players on loan, but they didn't do too great. So it's a great signing for us on a free as well. He's been waiting probably for ages for this, I would say, because the way he was talking about Portsmouth, he said it was like being at home at QPR, so he's happy to be back. And yeah, so welcome home, I guess, to ITZYEBOIDB, and hopefully we get to see you play on Saturday afternoon at Charlton, where we get the 3 points. Fingers crossed. We'll go from there. Next signing, Reece Norrington Davis, which has joined on loan from Sheffield United. Obviously a rival club in the Championship of ours. Didn't get much playing time, as you can see in his player stats on the screen. Last season, he has recently been playing for Sheffield United, but we've done well in recruiting a player that I believe is going to be good for championship experience, someone that knows how to basically play in that league, and very mature to to help youngsters like Escudina and others, probably Harvey Vale as well, because he's technically still a youngster, but he can provide a lot of strength more than them two in that area, where obviously, like I said, experience. So yeah, I wish I could say to you I know much about him, but as far as I'm aware, last season he didn't play much, so I can't really say much. What I would say is playing on Saturday, he might be match fit, but he might not be used as a first team player. He might be used on the bench. So yeah. Foley says, yeah, he is not bad player. Did you see the open training? Nice touch. I didn't see it, unfortunately. They do it every year, but I'll be honest, it's more for the thing for the kids, to be honest. Yeah. Unless you're a diet, unless you're a father or something like that, and you go there with your kids and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, shout outs to them for doing that as always for the community. Yeah. So yeah, I can't give so much. I don't know much about David. I'll be honest. I know little bits about him where I've been told by Sheffield United fans that he's a player that's versatile, that can play in the centre and on the left. He's very strong on the ball. He likes to clear the ball out down the wing a lot and stuff like that. Basic stuff. I don't know what kind of style of play that we're aiming to play with Stefan yet, because we saw a glimpse of it on Preston's first game, but the rest of the games have been quite dead. And he has admitted in the interview after Coventry that we will see something completely different on Saturday. He's guaranteed it. He said it will not happen again, the results that happened against Coventry, and he is expecting 3 points and the team to perform well. So fingers crossed we could trust him, rely on him, and hopefully the fans stick by him and go ahead. I've already said this. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'm going to anyway. I don't know why. You can't judge a manager on 3 games into the season. I know it's a really harsh result. I know it shouldn't be happening. 7-1 is a mad result to go, and it's money wise getting up there. We're sorry for the fans, but it's football, right? We need to kind of relax in understanding where we're going with the project. I know everyone's saying screw this, he's got to go, sack him and all that. But 3 games, we can't judge him like it's unfair. If we get to end of September and we're still the same, okay, maybe think about, like, obviously pressure's gonna be there, but it's a wake up call for him to understand that he's in a serious league. It's not the French league, it's a serious league championship, and he needs to stop unless he's testing things out. It's either 3 things: either testing things, or either the ownership has told him a certain way he needs to play and who he needs to play, or it's just really bad tactical decisions by him. So yeah, in my defense, I believe Harvey Vale should have been playing in that left back role against Coventry. That would have been best resolution. I think Steve Cook and Morrison were playing in the wrong areas of centre back. Steve Cook is more of a right player. Morrison can play right and left. I would prefer him on the left. Right back wise, Jimmy Dunn, unless you're going to play a 3 at the back with Dunn, Morrison and Cook, and going from there. I would personally put Mbengu on. I think Mbengu is the best. So yeah, that's how I think, in my opinion. But let's get back onto the topic of the latest news, and obviously, yeah. So Davis wise, great signing. I think we've needed a left back, we needed a midfielder. We've got that secured. And next, Dato. Now, when he came in last season, my opinion on him was he's very talented young kid. Reminded me, I'm not going to go overboard with it, but it did remind me of a bit of Kubo, a little bit. I know people probably say, "Oh, you're just saying that because of his, country and all of that." No, he has got the dribbling, he has got the skill, and he has got the not physical ability, but the mentality to get past players. He's not scared, and we saw that obviously when he scored the goal against, what was it? I think it was it Hull away, and there was another goal at home he scored. I can't remember the team. Really bad for me for actually even trying to guess. I should be knowing. But yeah, Koki Sato I thought wasn't gonna be able to get involved in the championship for like mentality and the physicality of the championship. But he proved me wrong, and he done well. And hopefully, under Stefan, he can move more better in the tackling wise against players, and not, because obviously we're interested in getting players into the box wingers wise, and that's what he does. Koki likes to get himself into the box, whether that's with the ball or without the ball. That's his main philosophy in getting dribbling wise into the box. So it's a great sign in. It's an undisclosed fee. They say it's about 2 to 3 million, not 5 million. But he said to us that his main thing was to come to QPR. Now, availability for Saturday, I don't know, because remember last season he did come off injured with his shoulder. So hopefully, fingers crossed. He said he hasn't had a pre-season, but he has been in training in pre-season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he's fit enough to be on the bench for us. Totally up to the manager, but it's one of them players that we do need, I think, in cover, as we lost Poku to injury. Dembele is probably going to get injured eventually. I'm not hoping it, but it's going to happen to QPR. I'm not no surprise there. Quick comment. He's just full of smart. Yeah, he's gonna be a fan favorite. Him and Bengu, you know, all them type of players, fan favorites, are gonna bring a rejoice to the club and stuff like that, just to bring the fans together. But yeah, I would say personally, Koki's a good sign in for the price, and obviously for what he proved to me last season. Not saying he has to prove anything, but he is a very talented youngster, and he's going to be good for us, and obviously investment wise if we do get eventually there. Now, according to contract wise, they did say if we did get to the Premier League, there was a clause in there for we can buy him straight away, but because we didn't get Premier League, we didn't buy him straight away. And obviously with the Eze deal, I reckon that's the reason why as well, where we've had the money enough to bring him in. So Koki Sato, Norrington Davis, and Isaac are both in. The stats, as you can see, of all players are there. You know, I think Koki scored 3 goals, and they're really terrific goals they were, to be honest. I can't remember the actual teams. I know he scored at the end of the season, he did a quality goal. But yeah, I'm happy with the business that they've done with the signings. But there's still, I believe, not more to come, but more areas that we need to sort out. So probably the centre back wise, and possibly another midfielder. But it depending on the formation that he uses, because obviously, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with midfield. Obviously, field doesn't seem the same. You know, I wouldn't count Field as a holding midfielder. I would count him as more of as a box-to-box midfielder. Kieran Morgan is more of a right back or a box-to-box midfielder. I wouldn't call him a holding midfielder. So yeah, it's kind of one of them things where I think we're looking at another number 8 come in and go from there. It has been announced on Twitter that we are after a number 8 now. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. We've got a week left for the transfer window. We'll go from there and see what happens. Now, unfortunately, as everyone knows, I am a big fan of Zancella. Obviously, he didn't do too great coming into the club. He didn't. He didn't really prove much apart from scoring 2 goals against Cardiff and then got injured after. He had a real bad season. I thought just because due to the injury, I thought he was going to be a very good signing. And I still think he will have a QPR future, but then obviously because he didn't appear on the bench on the weekend, and obviously he got sent out. It's been announced that he's been sent out to is it Dusseldorf or something like that? I can't remember. Let me just double check. Zancella. So Zancella has joined, Futana Dusseldorf on loan for the rest of the season, and apparently there is a clause in there for him to make it permanent if they want to make it permanent at the end of the season. I do hope. I'm going to focus more on him in Germany because I really like him. I think he's had a bad season. He reminds me a little of like the Sesco's. I'm not going to say Haaland because that's just people will probably say like, oh, you're doing over the top. But in my opinion, he has the ability that looks like Sesco in the sense of he's a bit pacey, you know, he gets in the air a lot, but I'm only going by things that I've seen obviously on YouTube for before we brought him in, and obviously when the talks were going on ahead of the rumors when we were bringing him in. So yeah, that was basically pretty much that. But yeah, Zancella, I hope you do well. Wish you well, man. I'm a big fan, and yeah, just go kill out there. I would say, prove us wrong, man. Prove the board wrong. For sending you on loan. By the way, I think it is a wrong bad decision. He's just had a kid as well, so you know, unless he's happy to do so. Obviously, he wants first team football. Then cool. But yeah, congratulations to Zancella. I hope you do well. Foley's asked any news on Frey. I personally don't know any news on Frey. All I know he's injured. He will be staying at the club. There's not been any news of him leaving the club or anything like that. But as far as I'm aware, as we've got Kone and Burrell, Frey is the only other option as well. Scott Colley. Yeah. I would presume he's staying. I would presume there'll be no, not him disappearing at the end of the window or anything like that. So that stuff in the club at the moment. Now there is obviously a few apparently that might still go on loan. Obviously people are saying Nicholas Madsen might go out on loan and all of that, but there's not 100% proof. Now before I started this stream today, I checked Twitter for any news, any latest news. I checked Google, my sources and all of that. Now I put something out there yesterday about a certain player coming back to the club. You know, I know Ronnie Edwards is not happy at Southampton. I know he's not getting first. I know he's not had a great start to the first game against Wrexham. The manager is a fan of his. Will still is a fan of his, but apparently it's not looking great. He's been told this and that. Obviously, other players are coming in at centre back. Now, what I've been told is this: he's very interested in the return to QPR. Now, my thing, what I put out yesterday on Twitter, was not about him returning. It was just a thought of, in the sense of, we're bringing players back. Ronnie Edwards, is that going to be next? But today has been talks apparently that the QPR board and Southampton are in talks with Ronnie Edwards' team and all of that to bring him back to club, and they are happy to either on loan or buy. It's up to us at the end of the day, the board, what we can do with the budget, the wage, if they're going to let him go for a reasonable price and all of that. I would personally love him back. We need a centre back in his quality. He's done bloody brilliant at QPR from the start, and he's going to be worth a lot of money. England international. Well, actually, is he England international or is he Irish? But let me know in the comments. I might be wrong on that. I don't want to be wrong on that. So yeah, that might get killed for that. But yeah, there is talks apparently. It's not a reliable source, so I wouldn't say 100%, but I will say on Twitter that someone has put out there that there is talks of Ronnie Edwards and QPR going on at the moment. There's not much any other players apart from I believe we're interested in a free agent, a youngster. I can't remember his name. I will try and find it. It's lost at the moment. There's not much really news on that behalf with QPR. Just gonna see if I can see anything else updated at the moment on Twitter or anything like that. Just Ronnie Edwards, Jimmy Dunn making the team. Yeah, so yeah, congratulations Jimmy Dunn making the Irish team again. Huge shouts out to him. Hopefully he can do well. The DS team, development squad team, I believe won tonight. I believe, I'm not 100% sure. I'm looking on Twitter about it. But yeah, there's not much else to say with QPR. Nothing at the moment. So yeah. What other comments do we have on chat? Any news of Ray? Your thoughts on the Charlton this week? I love to get Edwards back. Yeah, England under 21s. Yeah, I thought it was England. Yeah, I would say I'll talk about Charlton in a minute. Let me finish with the transfers and I'll come back to the Charlton game, because obviously I'll be honest, I'm gonna put a video out there probably Thursday about Charlton, but I don't mind talking about it on here for a little while. But I personally think Ronnie Edwards reminds me a lot of Belis. for I think Burnley, Harwood Villas or something like that, I believe. Yeah, he would be a great signing for us. I wouldn't mind him back, but I don't know what other, what business we're going to be doing, and what the budget is, the wage, and all of that. Obviously, we've got to look at FFP, and it's annoying. So the latest 2 hours ago, recently, Ronnie Edwards have progressed significantly today, signing close. Apparently, I wouldn't believe it too much until a reliable source I know is trustworthy, on my opinion. So yeah, not much is said on reliable sources about it, but yeah, until I get a reliable source say something about it, then I can pull it out there. I will say this though, the Kogi Sato one I actually knew about last week, and I kept it hidden. Um, I'm not actually allowed to say it because I actually my other job, like I said, somehow I bumped into him. So yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah. What else we got here? I think we put in a different performance against Charlton that will hurt the team. Listen, the thing. I'll talk about Charlton. I'll talk about Charlton. Right. So my thoughts on Charlton this week is this: he needs to put out the best team, the best. I would say the best the defense, right? And he needs to play the same style play as we did for 20 minutes against Preston in that first half, then thinking of changing it up constantly. Because that's what the type of manager is. He's a manager that likes to tactically move it around, and you can see that in each different game: Watford, Coventry, Preston, Plymouth. He likes to move things around. He likes to change it up. And I get it. He wants to try new things. And it's brilliant. I love a manager like that. But he needs to play the same style that he played the 20 minutes of Preston North End. Because Steve Cook, it's either you play him in the right position or you don't play him at all. Okay? Now, our strongest side that we should have put out in Coventry is Jimmy Dunn, Morrison, and Bengu, and Harvey Vale. On the day with the squad he put out, that is our best forward defense, in my opinion. And obviously, you know what the funny thing is, right? Last season, and I'm gonna say it right now, last season I said to everyone, Nardi is our top keeper. He's the best keeper since we've had since Cesar. Okay. And everyone was saying, oh no, Senny Dieng, oh no, this, that. So these keepers were okay. But I have not seen a talent of Nardi since, like I said, I'm not comparing him to Cesar, but I've not seen a talent like that at QPR since then. And we need to play him. The only thing that I hated, it wasn't even keeper mistakes. It was when last season the opponent would shoot and it would deflect off a defender. Constantly deflect off the defender. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but he's still going to be saving it. Sometimes when it's a deflection, what can you do? What can you do? When he did save, it was tremendous. He cracking keeper, and he's the type of keeper that we need to play. And a lot of people are realizing that now because of Joe Walsh. And I'm not even going to dishate Joe Walsh because he is a good keeper, but I just think that back four and that keeper can't pass together. They can't do nothing. They can't pass. That's the end of it. There was not. Listen, I will also say this, right? Kieran Morgan was an issue on Saturday, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but Kieran Morgan was an issue on Saturday. We're blaming managers, we're blaming this, we're blaming that, and yes, it all comes down to the manager. But at the end of the day, do you know how many mistakes Kieran Morgan made? Goal contribution mistake. Four. He kept passing the ball away to other players, and he wasn't focusing like the normal Kieran Morgan we see. So in my opinion, Kieran Morgan, it either needs to be dropped or he needs to be, told, or something needs to happen. That's all I need to know. Because Kieran Morgan is a cracking young talent. You know, he's proven right back at Preston. He's proven midfield with Varane and Field. You know, last season. We know he's quality. We know he can pass the ball. But for some reason, he's not the same as last season. And it's annoying because I really like the player. I feel we've done terrific with bringing these young players in from other clubs. You know, compared to what we was doing with Les Ferdinand and Tony Fernandez, just bringing rejects in from Tottenham, that's not going to work. You know, Tottenham have some cracking talent that they bring through. But when you bring in every released player from Tottenham, what are you doing? So yeah, you know, like I said, I think Kieran Morgan was probably one of the worst players on the field on the day, but I'm not here to hate on anyone. I'm just here to put my opinion out there, and everyone else can obviously, you know, say what they want. It's fine. It's an opinion, you know. Until the manager actually, you know, says if you're right or you're wrong, you know, that's who we need to listen to is the manager, and we need to believe in it. You know, and if it gets to a point in September, the end of September, then cool. We have to say something, you know, and I won't fight the fans for it. And let's look. I'll put it this way: Mike Fuentes, in the last the half a season and a half he's had at QPR, he saved us from relegation. He's come close to being in the playoffs. He's come back down. You know, we have a manager that we love that was sitting in the bottom half, 15th and bottom constantly for a season and a half. And we never hated on him. Never. We never asked him to go sacked because he was a fan favourite. You know, we saw the playing style was brilliant, but the results were really bad. So that's what I'm saying is we need to just kind of understand that in football nowadays, you're going to get hefty results. As long as it doesn't happen at home, I'm happy. If it happens once away, cool. It can't happen again from now on, like I said, but it can't happen. But yeah, Kieran Morgan, in my opinion, was really bad that day. Joe Walsh and Steve Cook was. Burrell, I got to see more of Burrell to judge him, but for what I've seen of him right now, he has heart, and that's all I can say. Collie wasn't too great. Dembele wasn't. You know what? Every player wasn't great. Let's just put it there, man. I'll just leave it like that. Every player wasn't great. It was the most shambolic performance ever from QPR. Obviously, you know, everyone posted on Twitter about how it was the same deja vu as West Brom, and it was. It had that same feeling. What the hell? The only difference is we have a better squad now against a Coventry side. You know, I personally think maybe you should have put three at the back because of Rudani. If you're playing Rudani, right, and who was it? The other guy on the wing. It's a dangerous attack. Coventry's attack dangerous. Lampard's playing style has always been wing play and throwing, getting the ball over the top. You know, that's always been his style. You know, he's played at Chelsea. He played for at Chelsea with Jose Mourinho. He did it at Chelsea. He did it at Derby. You know, he got his wingers as inside forwards and shoot. You know, Rudani it was not recognised that well until Lampard came into Coventry. You know, and I think Rudani is one of the best attacking midfielders or box to box midfielders in the Championship, as well as Finn Azaz. You know, it's one of them things, you know, where the manager needs to kind of adjust his like what formation is best. You know, I think, like I said, three at the back might have done it better. Jimmy Dunn, Morrison, and Mbengu. And then you put Harvey Vale and I was gonna say Dembele, but no, I'd probably put Paul Smith because he's more aggressive. And then I'd put in the middle Varane and Field with actually no. Do you know what? I put Kieran Morgan on the right wing, the right-sided wing back with Harvey Bell on the left-hand side, Varane and Field in the middle, Dembele, Burrell on the wings, and Collie up front. Or even like everyone was saying, obviously Kone should be up front, you know. But everyone's saying Man's saying he's not fit yet. He's not ready. So we'll see what happens Saturday against Charlton. But I shouldn't be running about this is latest news and all of that. I shouldn't be running about a Coventry on this. But yeah. Let's look at the comments anyway. Yeah, I agree. Cook is past. Cook is a very good centre back for the bench. You know, I think he's great, but his age and his injury that he had last season has killed him. So yeah, Nardi needs to. He is number one, and he needs to play as number one for sure. That Pense was a class in the cup. It was. It was good reading from him. And yeah, I just think Nardi's always been number one for QPR for me. Morgan first team players gone to his head. I wouldn't say it's gone to his head because he's a quality player still. It's just some people have that bad game. You know, Coventry just knew what to do, you know. They probably saw a game against Watford and thought, you know what, if they're gonna push everyone up, let's just counter attack it. Bam, bam, bam. Let's push, you know, put pressure on them. And that's what they did. You know, if anyone noticed it, all their goals and attacks came from the left-hand side of ours. Our right-hand side, their left-hand side. You know, they saw the weakness. They saw Kieran Morgan and Jimmy Dunn and obviously Cook and all of that. So, in my opinion, it's clever tactic there, you know? And we should have adjusted it straight away at half-time when you're down. Not even at half-time. When you go down 3-0, that's it. You should adjust it. But fingers crossed, Charlton at home, 12 o'clock kickoff, 12:30 kickoff, I should say. We change things up, we get it done, and we move on from a appalling result and, you know, go from there. Maybe JS wants a keeper who can come off his line because we are winning. But the problem is, Mark, is that Joe Walsh is not that keeper. Joe Walsh, you got to remember, when he came out of his line, and this is the problem with Preston, Esquidina was the issue of keeping him on side of the player, and Joe Walsh came out. And if you're going to come out like that, you need to be big and brave, you know, and he hasn't been that, you know. And the last goal for Coventry was I think it was the last goal or the second to last goal, when it was shot out of the box and looped over him. That can't happen. He's got to read that well, you know. Like, if we're gonna, you know, the key, Joe Walsh is not a sweeper keeper. He's just a classic keeper. In my opinion, send Joe Walsh on loan and keep Murphy Cooper. You know, Murphy Cooper seems to be ready and, you know, going from there. Do you think new signs will help us win on Saturday? I think I'm not worried about Koki Sato because we've all seen him play in the Championship now and we know what he's like. Is that Caden, if he does play, I would say he's going to make a difference, 100%. But he won't play with Varane unless he wants to play a defensive midfield. So, yeah, I think the new signings we got are brilliant, and I think Davis probably should play, or Vale should play on that left back. Esquidina's not ready, in my opinion. I think Esquidina has got a lot to learn. So, yeah. And Cook is too slow to play in that system. I would say Cook can't pass a ball to play in that system. He's not a ball playing defender. He's a classic defender that's a no nonsense defender, which likes to just clear the ball out of there. I only think the ball playing defenders that we have is Mbengu, Jimmy Dunn, and Morrison. You know, and that's why we probably want to bring in Ronnie Edwards. Clark-Sar, who's a brilliant ball playing defender and attacking defender, is injured. So, you know, it's one of them things that we got to deal with. Like I said, we need to put Mbengu and Morrison back together because when they were on the field, they did brilliantly. The only reason for that Preston goal was because Esquidina kept him on side from a counter attack. That needs to be worked on the counter attacks. That's all I've got to say on that one, really. Yeah. Coming off his line cost us against Preston. He keeps coming off his line. You know, there's sometimes he makes a mistake and it's costing us. But there's sometimes where he pulls off a good save. This season, he hasn't been the same as the couple of games he played last season. you know, and you got to make that determination. Do we change him now, or do we keep him in there? Is he the problem, or because in my opinion, I've always learned that the keeper's only as good as defense. Defense is a shambles. The keeper's gonna have a shambles. You know, not even like I would say it's any keeper. You know, if Arsenal have a shambles against Leeds, say they did, if they did, you know, Raya's quality, but he probably still have a goal against him or so. So yeah, I would say a lot needs to be changed. And if Ronnie Edwards does come in before Saturday, well, I don't think he'll play, but if he comes in before Saturday, if it is true, it might help us. But I think it's going to be a deadline day signing. And I know obviously this is pretty much all. This is it, I reckon. This is going to be all the done deals. I don't see any more apart from unless there's not been any much rumors. You know, I think we're strong in every area. If we bring in Ronnie, we're definitely strong in defense for sure. Because he can play in midfield as well, and we've all seen him in midfield and his quality. So yeah, I would say, if he is gonna get anyone in, it's probably gonna be youngsters for the development team, because the development team is struggling at it. They're not performing like they should be, in my opinion. That could be because of Paul Furlong, or that could just be talent, really. You know, we have and that's do you know what? That's another thing I'll say about talent, okay? Why isn't Tyron Smith on the bench? He is one of our in my defense, I think he is I'm not gonna say ahead of Cook, but he should be on the bench. You know? I think Tyron Smith should be on the bench with Cook. He needs to learn, and I just think watching him against Plymouth, you know, the 19-year-old has bloody heart compared to any other defender that we have. Think of it, when he played Plymouth, I know it's Plymouth, we had two young centre-backs on that, and they were digging in. They weren't scared. They were going for it. You know, they were involved in it. And like you said, I didn't know much about Tyron Smith, and obviously just from videos. After that game, I was like, wow, we have a centre back on our hands that can perform well, you know, and he needs to be on the bench. I know he's young, and I know they're going to say we can't do it and all of that, but he needs to be on the bench. You know, that player is going to be the one that is going to be, you know, that you know, when you always have that one talented player for the team that is just going to be incredible. And it's one of them players, like the only way is the Neil Warnock scenario where Tarap was the guy that got us promoted. And that's true, Tarap did get us promoted. You always have that one player, and they just do it. I'm not saying Tyler Smith's going to get us promoted, but he has incredible talent, and I believe he's ready for the bench. You know, I was at the Cardiff game. He was class on and off the ball. When you say Cardiff game, say to him, I think you're saying Ronnie Evans is a must. Gareth Williams. I'm about to say Gareth Haynes. What the hell? Gareth Williams says Ronnie is the must. Yeah, 100%. I listen. When you got the money now, if we have got the money to big it up, then bring him in 100%. He chipped in with the odd goal to Edwards. Like I said, I think when it comes down to set pieces, Ronnie Edwards is one of them players that you need in the box, whether that's in our box or their box. Because one, he's either going to score or he's going to clear the ball out off the line. As simple as that. So Ronnie Edwards, if he does come in, he's going to make a big difference for us, 100%. And like I said, the majority of our squad right now, the way every QPR fan looks at them, is about a 10 mil player there. You know, I'm not saying right now, but in the future, maybe. Look, we brought Varane in for 2 million. At the end of the season, clubs will come in 5, 6, 7 million for him. You know, I don't want him gone. I don't want Varane gone yet. Unless you're gonna offer me 20 mil, then cool. You know, we shouldn't let any player go until they reach that 20 mil mark. You know, you can't just let a player go at that age and that quality at 10 mil. to me, unless you're gonna put either a buyback clause or a sell-on clause, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, Gareth Williams, I don't know when. Listen, like, I'll be honest, Clark Solar, I've seen Clark Solar, and he's walking. Obviously, walking's different to training, but he is walking. I saw him at a friendly game. I don't know if anyone knows where Cobham FC is, but he was watching the game there. I saw him there. So he looks like he's walking. He looks like they said that he will be back in training after the international break. Him and Frey. So hopefully we can keep him fit. But the problem is he was back fit and then his knee went on him again, apparently. So when it comes down to ankle injuries and knee injuries, it's going to be one of them things where it's going to be difficult to have the player guaranteed back, I would say. So we need to be pretty understanding in the sense of when it comes down to club wise, in the sense of, are we going to play him or are we going to take it slowly and see what he does? You know, I like Clark Soul a lot. I think he's good for the team, but just he's going to be an injury prone now, so we've got to be a bit realistic with it and go from there. I don't think there's anything else to cover. Like I said, unless someone comes out with breaking news right now. I I don't see any players going out loan apart unless they're youngsters. Um, Daniel Benny could be a potential first team substitution. So yeah, Kone to score Saturday. Listen, I agree. So West London Sport. I don't know if anyone watches West London Sport podcast when it does come to QPR with Kevin Gallen, good old Kevin Gallen, and the guy, I can't remember his name on there, but he said something very interesting. He said this week is a very big game because you got to remember it's Kone versus Kelman, you know, and this is where it's wake or break. If Kelman scores and Kone don't, the fans are gonna turn real big time. Why did we let him go? You know? But if Kone scores and he doesn't, it's good business, you know? It's one of them things. So the Kone, and you know, it's gonna be one of them focus games on striker, what the manager's gonna do. We're at home, and characteristics and morale with the team. Are they gonna deflate or are they gonna bump up their game performance like they did for the first 20 minutes of Preston and show us what we can really do? Because we're not ready for the Premier League. 100% we're not ready for the Premier League. We still need to work on our team. But we have potential to be in top 10. Our squad is not shit. Our squad is top 10 material. And that's what I think. You know, drop the comments if you think I'm wrong. You know, you love to know what you know or what you think on that. You know, I honestly believe a London club. You know, we have the players, we have the ownership, we have. You know, the only thing we don't have is a bigger stadium. You know, but the stadium that we have is amazing. You know, we're so tight into the ground. That is the advantage for QPR to win a game. You know, we're gonna go in on every home game and put pressure on the away team as fans. So yeah, like I would say we're also as fans, you know, not just obviously I can't say myself because obviously you know I'm at home, I'm not there, but the the fans that go, you know, they're like the 12th man, you know, at that club, definitely. You know, they're gonna put pressure on that away side, put that noise in the ground, and from the R block everywhere, that's it. You know, we got to put pressure on them. We got to believe, and we got to go from there. We got to definitely move on from Saturday's result. You know, because they got to be better performances than that. But yeah, Bone, he does he play? As far as I'm aware, he should be playing. He looks fine, but yeah, Stefan. Keep thinking Pierre. We have Pierre Sage, not Stefan. Stefan, yeah, he needs to just make a decision on what he's gonna do with Coney, if he's playing or not. So I think he's ready, but I see Coney getting. He's not frustrated. He hasn't been frustrated or anything like that, as far as I can see. But yeah, it'll be. We have a good striker on our hands. I will say this. Don't expect 30 goals, but there's a reason why um where Charlie Austin likes Charlie Austin. It's one of them Charlie Austin players where you come up from long non-league and you just a born goal scorer in the championship. If he does it in the Premiership, if we get promoted, bam, done. But he's gonna be one of them players in the championship for sure. He's proved it in League One, so I don't see any issues with that. Obviously Zancella's gone, so yeah, Norris Foley, that's fine. Listen, look, I'm just trying to, like do something for the fans. Just like just see what happens with it. Really, I know a lot of people do this, but I think I wanted to do it because obviously I'm a big QPR fan, and this is like important, man. It is, in my opinion, bringing fans together and go from there. And some people, you can't hear this on the radio. Some people don't pay for it on the QPR player on the website, and it's one of them things where I give you live commentary of the game. It gives me a smile if it helps people. So yeah. I appreciate everyone who subscribes, appreciate everyone that tunes in, much love. So yeah, I'm much appreciated on that one. But this has gone on the longest with latest news. This has been actually quite one of the most funniest latest news that I've given, as you've had triple signings on bank holiday, we have latest news on players. I don't think there's no late. Do you know what? There's no update on Ilias Share on his injury at the moment. Nothing's been said. If anyone has gone to the open training session, hit a comment below and let me know if they saw Chair, because there was no photos of him I didn't see. So yeah, we need to make sure Chair's okay, because we missed him on Saturday for sure. So, yeah, but let's expect hopefully a good result on Saturday. Get behind the team and the manager, stay positive, and yeah, go from there really. But apart from that, no injury updates. Obviously, I've just given everything. So yeah, but everyone have a cracking evening. Thank you for tuning in, wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and we'll possibly be back Thursday, Friday, with a team news on Saturday, and then obviously we'll be live on Saturday as well. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and yeah, have a great evening. And we'll catch you soon.